All right, let's take a look at the special right triangles that we've discussed in class last week and in this practice that we have here. And so some of the things I'm seeing is that we're struggling with some of the more difficult ones here, and I want to help you work through those. So again, we're doing our special right triangles. Here are the two patterns for the 30, 60, 90 right triangle. If we know the short side, it's X. The hypotenuse is twice as long as the short side, and the long side is X root 3, or whatever the short side is, times the square root of 3. For the 45, 45, 90 right triangle, we have, well, side length and side length have to be the same because it's an isosceles triangle. So the two side lengths are going to be the same, and the hypotenuse is going to be the side length times the square root of 2. So that's the pattern that we're going to use. And one problem that came up pretty quickly here is problem number 3. People were struggling on problem number 3. So here we have the side length of 3 root 2 over 2. And so the other side length, y, this one's going to be pretty simple. Y must equal 3 root 2 over 2. Now, this is our side length, right? So our side length, take that side length and multiply it by the square root of 2. So I need to take 3 square root of 2 over 2 and multiply it by the square root of 2. Now, that's the square root of 2. That square root of 2 is not the square root of 2 over the square root of 2. That's just the square root of 2 over 1. And so multiplying across the top, 3 root 2 times the square root of 2. Well, the square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is the square root of 4. So I get 3 times the square root of 4 all over 2. And now the square root of 4 we know is 2. So I get 3 times 2 over 2, which is 6 over 2, or just simply 3. So I know my X value here is 3 for that particular problem. The other one that I want to take a look at is problem number 6. Problem number 6, the hypotenuse on this 45, 45 is 2 root 6. Oh my goodness. All right, so this is where we're going to have to use the pattern. The hypotenuse is 2 root 6, but the hypotenuse on the pattern is x root 2. So the hypotenuse from the pattern, x root 2, is equal to the hypotenuse on the problem, which here is 2 root 6. And now we got to solve this. All right, we're going to solve for x. We divide both sides by the square root of 2, divide both sides by the square root of 2. The square root of 2's cancel. And now I get x equals. Well, the square root of 6 divided by the square root of 2, the square root of 6 divided by the square root of 2 is the square root of 6 divided by 2. And 6 divided by 2 is 3. So this simplifies. So I end up with 2 square root of 3. Now, you could have, if you were looking at this like, oh man, I have 2 root 6 over root 2. What you could have done is said square root of 2 over the square root of 2 to get rid of the bottoms here. And you would have ended up with 2 square root 12 over 2. And you would have had the square root of 12 because the 2's cancel. Now, and you plug it in the calculator, 2 square roots of 3 is the same thing as the square root of 12. All right, so those guys are the same. So I would have accepted either one on this particular problem. Problem number 6, go take a look at problem number 6. The y value here is 3, what did we say? 2 square roots of 3, excuse me. 2 square root 3, and x is the same as that, so it's 2 square root 3. Sorry. I'm mathing in pen. Oh, it's a shame. Okay, so one of the tougher ones on the back, I'm trying to find here. The only tough one I think might be 10. All the rest you should be okay with, but number 10, the hypotenuse is 8 root 5. So half the hypotenuse is the short side, right? So 8 square root of 5, I take half of that. So if I divide that by 2, All right, 8 divided by 2 is nothing but 4. So now we see the short side is 4 root 5. So we could say the short side here, across from the 30 is our short side. So y equals 4 root 5. And now you take the short side and multiply it by the square root of 3. So 4 square root of 5 is the short side times the square root of 3. When you only multiply underneath the square roots, I'm not going to multiply without 4. So I end up with 4 times the square root of 15. That would be our long side. So x here would be 4 square root 15, like so. I hope that helped. And we will have a quiz on Wednesday.